Welcome to the Swisher Podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you go on Instagram and follow me at swisherent. Make sure you also go on YouTube and hit that subscribe button so you get a notification when the new videos is coming out. Make sure you also hit the subscribe button and the follow button on any of the streaming platforms, which is Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SoundCloud, so you get a notification when the next podcast is coming out. Thank you so much for listening once again, and I hope you enjoy. Welcome back, Swisher Podcast, another episode. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, we are back, another episode. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Make sure you also, you know the spill. Make sure you also go on Apple Podcasts, hit the subscribe button, YouTube, all that good stuff. It's not too much to talk about. Like I said, the All-Star Weekend was this weekend. It's this weekend. If you listen to this on Saturday, because this is when I'm recording it, they had the celebrity game. And, I was wondering, I was like, why are they pushing Quavo so much for this celebrity thing? They have, he's like a big part of the All-Star celebrity game, I guess. I don't know if he won MVP, but they had a couple of people out there playing. But if you go on YouTube and watch one of those videos, it says presented by Quavo. So I'm just trying to figure out how big of a part he had within the All-Star game. But like I said, I don't know. I didn't really watch too much of it. You know, a lot of things like the All-Star Weekend and all that isn't as big as it was back in the day. I feel like when a lot of those stars and a lot of different celebrities would be in the All-Star game and be in the Celebrity All-Star game, it was a lot better. You know, they have a lot of people who aren't really celebrities. They have like the guy who created 2K. They have like the U.S. Ambassador of Education. They just have like some random people with like a few superstars, not even like A-list superstars, just a few superstars sprinkled in. But like I said, I don't really see like it's not like it was a few years ago, but it's still fun to watch. And the stadium wasn't even crowded, so I don't know what's going on, but the stadium wasn't even crowded like that. And they should do the celebrity game during when everybody's there, when there's a lot of people there. But I guess you don't really have celebrities in the celebrity game. You just have people in high positions and different people that work, like the owners of teams. Then can you really consider a celebrity game where you only have like 2 or 3, 4 celebrities? But like I said, if you guys haven't, check out the highlights on YouTube. It's pretty interesting. I'm ready to watch the dunk contest. I believe that is today, which is Saturday. So it's nice to see. I believe Aaron Gordon, I talked about this last podcast. I believe Aaron Gordon is in the dunk contest. And I believe Zach LaVine is also in the dunk contest. So it'd be great to see those guys go back and forth. Once again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the last, I believe it was a few years ago, dunk contest. Just type in Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon, dunk contest, and you'll be able to see some of the highlights from the last time they were in the dunk contest. I'm not sure the exact date, but, they were both in the dunk contest, and it was a great contest. Probably the best dunk contest I've ever seen since I've been alive. I wasn't able to see when Michael Jordan, and all those other guys were in the dunk contest, but, in the last decade or two, this has been the best dunk contest I have seen. That was the best dunk contest I have seen, so it'll be great to see what they do this year with the All-Star Weekend. They also have the All-Star Game. LeBron and all those guys that are playing. I wonder if Zion would be playing. He played in the Rising Stars game, which was yesterday. But I wonder if they're going to have him play in the All-Star game. I don't think they are, but they have Trae Young. And, Trae Young scores about 30 points a game. He plays the Atlanta Hawks, young dude. But they're probably not going to have Zion playing that. But it would have been great to see him playing that if he is, or if he's not, I'm not sure. But I'll probably just watch the highlights anyway. But you guys let me know how you guys feel about All-Star Weekend. Is it the same as it was a few years ago, or is it, not the same? Is it not the same? Do you watch it still, or do you not even watch it like that? A lot of people don't have cable like that anymore, so the views for certain things like that are going down. If they were smart, they would stream it online and get all those views, stream it on YouTube, stream it. So I feel like a lot of people aren't watching cable anymore, conventional cable. So like I said, a lot of these live events aren't getting the numbers they were getting at one point. So it'll be smart idea for them to put that online, be able to stream it, because to get those numbers back up. A lot of these like award shows, BET Awards. I remember when the BET Awards used to come on back in the day. They used to be just an event everybody used to watch and talk about. at one time, but since, a lot of people are started streaming and cable's not as big as it was, a lot of those live events that come on aren't, they're not as big as they once were. You can catch the highlights of whatever happened. Anything happened, you're going to see it on social media, so people aren't as stressed to watch it, the live event, as much as they used to. So, a lot of these companies, they were smart. They get into the streaming game and just straight stream it on YouTube. You don't even have to have people to pay for it, to watch it on BET.com or NBA Live, NBA.com. Just stream it on YouTube. You're gonna get those numbers. You're gonna get those people. You definitely, YouTube is proven to give numbers. YouTube is proven to show. So, a lot of these networks should be able to just stream it online for free, and they're gonna get that, those advertisements, those people, because you're gonna have so many people tuning in. But that's just my opinion. I don't work for any of these networks, but they should give me a job, because I'm giving out gems and diamonds all day long on Swisher Podcast. So make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on Apple Podcast. Hit that follow button on Spotify and SoundCloud. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like button, and comment. You know what I'm saying? Let's get this to as many likes and views or whatever as possible. You can listen to this on YouTube, because, like I said, the video will not be on this week, so you'll be able to listen to this on YouTube. It will be up there, episode 135. I haven't named it yet, but episode 135, you'll be able to listen to this on YouTube if you don't have any other streaming platforms, or you just want to listen to this on your TV or whatnot. You do have the option to listen to the podcast on YouTube. Like I said, I appreciate everyone who's been listening and watching from the beginning or from the middle or just now. This is your first episode. I appreciate you listening to the Swisher Podcast. This podcast is an opinionated podcast about any type of trending topic, sports, or anything I feel like I need to address or talk about. Something that I started a year or two back ago. And, like I said, I've been on and off, haven't really been consistent. But this year I'm trying to be a lot more consistent. I feel like sometimes I beat myself up, because I feel like, if I would have stayed consistent from day one when I had first started this, there's no telling where this podcast or where I would be, or where this podcast would be today in 2020. But like I said, it's just something that you have to tell yourself to stay consistent and just keep putting that content out, because hard work doesn't go unnoticed. And you play the number games, you put enough content out, someone's going to discover it, people are going to find it, and people are going to like it. I talked about the last podcast, I was like, millions and millions, 7 billion or more, I don't know how many people are in this world. Everybody has the internet. Not everybody, but most people around the world have access to the internet, so you're able to find your content. You can have 100,000 to 500,000 fans and still not be famous, but that's the power of the internet. You're able to have your own fan base and have a way to have people listen to you, and you don't even have to be like the number one movie star, the number one personality, or the number one person. You can have your own fan base and use that fan base to monetize and profit off of it, and or whatever you want to do. But that's, like I said, the power of the internet. If you guys are interested into getting into making content or just putting content out on the internet, whatever you may do, make sure you hit me up at swisherentertainment95@gmail.com. If you want to get your content on the Swisher Podcast, I'll be able to put it on the YouTube page and display it while I'm doing the podcast. If you ever watch any of my YouTube videos, you have seen I have done that for people before, so it'd be great to do it for more people. If you need me to post anything on Instagram, make sure you hit me up at swisherent on Instagram. I'll be able to post whatever you guys need to post. I'll be able to any type of brand advertisement, anything like that. I would definitely look out and be able to do that for you guys. I'm always looking to help others who are, help me help you. It's always love over here at Swisher Podcast. And like I said, I want to get back into the t-shirt game. Definitely seeing the following that I have, over 2,000 streams a month, which may not seem a lot to you. Some of you big podcasts who are getting more than that, but for me, just to start back after taking 4 to 5 months off and still getting that over 2,000 streams a month is an accomplishment for me, knowing that I'm getting that retained, that engagement, and people are coming back. So therefore, I'm looking forward to, in the future, making t-shirts and giving you guys something that you can purchase and, really support the podcast if you're a supporter. And I just appreciate you guys for listening. Definitely look into different t-shirt designs. For those of you who have been following me for a while, know that I have posted some t-shirts in the past, and I definitely want to get more of a full shirt design other than just Swisher Podcast in the corner. Even though that shirt is simple and it's something that I feel like people would like to wear, I'm definitely looking forward to making a t-shirt design that's more just on like the full front of the t-shirt, nothing that's just like in the upper left corner, but that's definitely a shirt that will come out too. But like I said, once I'm able to find someone, an artist or someone to be able to design that for me, I'll definitely look forward to doing that. If you are an artist and you know how to make t-shirt logos or any type of logo, you want to make the Swisher Podcast logo for the t-shirt, definitely hit me up at swisherent on Instagram if you have an Instagram. If not, definitely hit me up at swisherentertainment95@gmail.com and we can get to working. Always, like I said, always down to work with different artists and different people who are also in the content or like the artist business or like any type of thing that can help the podcast out, and vice versa. I'm definitely looking forward to work with those type of people. People may ask like, why you do why a podcast? Podcast is something that a lot of people didn't know what a podcast was. Like, what is a podcast? But let alone, you've had an iPhone from the beginning of time. The podcast app has always been on the iPhone. It's always been a part of the apps that you get when you buy an iPhone. So having that app there and not really exploring that app, until recently, I guess, if you listen to this on Apple Podcasts, like I said, the last about 2 or 3 years, the podcast industry, the podcast business has definitely taken off. It's so many different podcasts out there, and it's just growing. The money that's going to podcasts is going up. There's a lot of money being put out for certain levels and different podcasts, and it's just something that I started listening to back in 2016 when I was at work, and I was like, yo, this is something that I feel like would be something fun to dive into, something fun to learn more about, and maybe started my own. And I was able to get the tools to create my own podcast, and here we are today. And like I said, here I am today producing a daily podcast. But podcast is just something that it's not an audio book, but it's almost like you get to hear the opinions of others on certain topics. You get to just it's great to listen to while you're at work, while you're working out. It's a show. It's a show with everybody having a short attention span nowadays, and everybody it's something that it's like you're watching TV or you're listening to a talk show without actually sitting down and having to watch the TV. Everything's in your ear, so you're able to listen while you're on the go, which is one part of it that's big. That I feel like that's big. It's definitely a day earlier when I was talking about the streaming era. You're able to stream the podcast, and even if you want to watch it, you're able to sit down and watch it on YouTube. For those of you who do record your podcast, but I just found something about the podcast industry, something about creating a podcast, something about creating content like this, definitely excited me. And honestly, for me to sit here and say that I didn't have I feel like a lot I wanted to say. If I feel like there wasn't a lot of things that I like to talk about, a lot of things that like trending topics and stuff that I want to talk about in sports and stuff, be able to just sit down and talk and be able to make some type of revenue off of that is also something that attracted me to doing podcasts. It's all, but it's all love. Like I said, it's all love for the podcast. It's something that I know that I want to do because it's like I said, I've been doing this for a while, and to be able to keep coming back to it and keep working hard. And anybody know that's been following me from a while, I've been working hard at creating content for the podcast. And, like I said, hard work never goes unnoticed, but you just got to keep working until you're able to put that content out to a certain level for, a lot more people to hear it. But, that's pretty much the reason why I started podcast. Everybody may have a different reason. And if you don't know what podcast is, this is a podcast. It's Swisher Podcast. And, like I said, I do a daily podcast. So, I get up here solo and do this myself because I feel like have people come or have someone come every day, through a day of the week, and every day is definitely straining. And I want to be able to put as much content out as possible right now because I'm somewhat still in the beginning stage and being able to put as much content out as possible. And then you gotta have a plan. You gotta have a plan what the future holds. You know what I'm saying? Putting this content out right now solo, and then being able to, get an advertiser or get that crowd or get the momentum going, and then expand the podcast within the future and be able to have more people on is definitely something I look forward to in the future. But right now I'm definitely still in the beginning stage in the grind and putting out as much content as possible just to get that engagement and that following back like I had a few months ago, and I was really going hard and putting out a lot of shows, 3 shows a week. And like I said, putting out this daily show is probably a great idea that I've had so far. I'm getting the numbers. I'm getting 2,000 plays a week, 2,000 plus plays a month. And like I said, thank you guys so much for supporting the podcast, and I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. But I really do. But if you guys haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. If you like what you're listening to, if you enjoy the podcast, if you want other people to hear this podcast, make sure you share it at work. If you just enjoy hearing me talk, hearing my opinions, hearing my voice, anything that you enjoy about the podcast, definitely let other people know. Definitely let me know at swisherent on Instagram. Just definitely do all that. And I have so many plans for this in the future. Definitely on YouTube, getting some YouTube tools, getting some YouTube ideas and all that different type of stuff. It's going to be a very bright future for Swisher Podcast. And it's just something about owning your own content and owning your own business is a great thing to have nowadays. And it's a lot easier than it was 20, 30 years ago. You can really put the work in and own your own business and own your own stuff. But I'm pretty sure everybody knows that. I preach that all the time. I just saw something crazy on my phone. I preach that all the time when I'm up here on the podcast. The importance it is of owning your own content and owning your own business and being able to create something out of nothing and profit off of it or whatnot. But when you do something like this, you can't just go straight in thinking about the money and thinking about the type of money you can make and stuff like that. You gotta just make great content. You gotta make a lot of content, and it has to be good. And you want to put it out there, so hopefully the right people will see it, and you'll be able to spread it all over the world. And then, if you can think about, profiting off the podcast, but that's just something that is something that you can look forward in the future. With anything that you do, you can't just go in thinking about the money. You hooping, you dancing, you doing anything. You gotta do what you love, and if you're doing what you love, at the end of the day, you're just not gonna feel like work. It's not gonna feel like something that you have to do. I do this podcast every day because I want to. I don't have to get up here and do this podcast. I don't have to get up here and talk for 20 minutes a day. Some days I may or may not have certain things to talk about, but this is nothing that I have to do, but it's something that I love to do, and I know you just gotta keep it up. And one day, this podcast can definitely turn into something bigger than what it is today. And having this content for people to go back on and listen to and see where I came from, we came from, and whatnot is definitely a big part of the podcast. And like I said, it is crazy. And I just want to thank you guys for listening to this episode. I'm sorry I didn't have too many topics to talk about today. Next week, I promise it will be a week full of topics. Hopefully, if it's anything going on. If not, I guess I'm going to have to dig and find some content to talk about so you guys can stay tuned and stay listening to the podcast. I want to keep your attention. I want to keep you guys loyal fans, Swisher Gang. But once again, thank you so much for listening to the Swisher Podcast. I hope you guys enjoy this episode 134 or 5, I believe. But once again, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at swisherent. Make sure you also go on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and do all that great stuff if you want to support the podcast. Well, once again, this is the Swisher Podcast, and I'm out.